So with today, I'm Jon Witt, and this is my son Noah Witt, and this is a basic class, Hatha 1 class. So I focus on basics so that you can build up a practice at any level. So I'm going to be working on strengthening the hips. I do a variety of things, never sticking too much on one thing, just because I like to give people an outlet where it's more of a balanced practice, but hips govern a lot. If you did not know, the stability of the hips will help with the functioning of the knees and the functioning of the spine. So I'm going to start in the class in a seated position, but before I start, just some announcements. I have a class tomorrow at 10 a.m. to 11. So if you'd like me to see you practice, that's on Zoom. You could register for that class. It's jonwittyoga.com. And then I have a more of a healing class, and that's on Wednesdays. It's labeled as restorative, but I will move you a little bit just because of the pandemic. Probably sitting too much, so there's some light movements. It's accessible. It's really available for everyone, and it's to help support and de-stressing and, like I said, healing. So I'm gonna also be giving some talks soon in the future, and I'm thinking about doing it at 5 p.m. on Fridays, and that'll be on Instagram and Facebook. Topics of practice and just lifestyle, philosophy, and just dealing with injuries. So hopefully you can join me on those live talks, and it'll be open discussion where we can chat. I can answer questions. So in sitting, I'm going to sit where my feet are going to be about the width of my shoulders. So with my feet wide, I'm just going to be moving my knees to the right. Left thighs rotating in internally, right thighs rotating out externally. And then lift the legs up and then take the legs to the left. You can take them back up. And then when you take them back up, you're going to go to the right. Just kind of see which leg may be moving better than the other. So I'm always thinking of moving through some sort of resistance when I'm moving, just so that I'm integrating more. You can take the legs up, you can move them to the left, you can inhale, move them to the right, and then when you move them back up to the left, I'm just gonna stay to the left, just a couple breaths, upright position. So if I'm more upright, I'm gonna be more over my right hip, so it's gonna help rotate the inner thigh in more. Might be something that you're missing or not, you don't have, or you'd like to regain. I'm going to take the legs up and take the knees over to the right side. And when the knees are over to the right, same thing, I'm going to sit over my left hip. I'm going to sit nice and tall, nice and upright. And by sitting upright, it's going to help rotate the femur more in. So you need internal rotation as well as external rotation. Not always, but often. It's the internal rotation that kind of deteriorates the hip if you don't have it. So take the knees back up, and when you take the knees up, have the knees pointed forward, have the hands underneath the shoulders, and push through the hands and elevate the hips up off the floor. So I'm taking my hips up, pushing through the heels, just going to be moving the weight around a little bit. This is a basic position in my opinion. It's going to help build up strength in the hands, the wrist. It's going to help strengthen your extensions. So it's not a really deep back bend, right? But it's going to help in getting you to be stronger and supporting your weight. And you can see the variations that Noah's doing. He can, you can start to walk around your hands at some point. So we're going to bring the hips down, and then when you take the hips down, just move the hips forward a little bit towards the feet, just for a moment, and then bring it back. So this is an active way of strengthening the hands, the wrists, the shoulders. So I'm forward towards my feet just for a couple seconds, and then I'm going to sit back. So if you're experiencing pain in the shoulder or the elbow, you're going too far forward, and over time you'll be able to go as far forward as me or even beyond that. So come back into the middle, and when you come back into the middle, sit cross-legged. And as you sit cross-legged, take the left hand to the left and reach the right hand out to the right, and try to lean forward a little bit. See the exposure that you're providing on the right side, and you may need more, but then again you may need less. So if you can't really hold a pose for an extended period of time, you're probably going too far into it. So take the right hand behind the head, move the head back in space, use some strength within the abdomen. So classic yoga is really what I teach and what I practice. It's more internal. So you're using more of an inner connection as opposed to just doing exercise. Not to say that that's bad. We'll take the right arm up to the right. We'll bring ourselves back up. We'll recross the legs. And as we recross the legs, I'm going to take my right hand to the right side. I'm going to reach my left hand to the left. And then I'm going to take my left hand behind my head. And I'm moving my head back in space. So this is a lot of different positions. I like this because some of you might not be getting the leverage that you need when you're doing standing poses. So this is a really easy way to do it. Great in a chair if you ever couldn't do practice on the floor or you couldn't practice standing. So take the left arm out to the left again, bring yourself back up, and then come back into that quadruped position. So the hands are down, the feet are down. I'm going to push through the hands, just lift through the chest because you may not be able to lift up. So I'm going to lift the hips up off the floor, drive through the heels. Again, not a really deep back bend. If you're new to yoga, often we push too much. We push more than we actually need to. So just get a good sense of that you're using your hands, your fingers, you're using your feet. If I do take the head back, I want to get the head more in the middle. So bring the hips down, and then when you bring the hips down, we're going to come into an all four position. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So the hands will be just underneath the shoulders. And with the knees just underneath the hips and the hands underneath the shoulders, just move the weight around a little bit just to adjust the hands, the wrist. And then I'm going to push through the hands and round the spine into a cat stretch. You can look forward and up, you can back bend. You can exhale, you can round. You can back bend again, you can lift the chin, you can lift the chest. And you can exhale, you can round the spine. So take the hands to the right side and look high over the right shoulder. So lift the head, lift the chest. So moving off the mat is good because it's going to leverage the left side of your upper body. Take your hands to the center and then to the left side and look high over the left shoulder. So as you're looking over the shoulder, you might want to bring the head a little lower if it's straining the neck. I'm going to take the hands back into the middle, and with the hands back in the middle, I'm going to turn my hands in to adjust my wrist and my shoulders. I'm going to move around my hands if I can. So modern yoga is often practiced on the hands. Not that you have to do it this way, but you're going to spend more time on your hands in most modern classes. So I'm just moving around. It's good to be on the hands. It'll build strength through the upper body. It'll build bone density in the hands, in the arms. And hopefully you'll never fall, but if you do fall, right, you'll have strong enough bones that things won't break. So come back into the middle, and then when you come back in the middle, turn the hands forward, push through the hands and round the shoulders, and lift up into a plank pose. So you can lift the knees off the floor, push through the hands, pull back through the belly, pull back through the ribs. Make a couple deep breaths here. And then come down onto the knees, and when you come down on the knees, I'm going to have my toes tucked, and I'm going to sit back towards my feet. So this is a difficult position. It'll stretch out the feet, it'll stretch out the quads. You don't have to sit up like this, but maybe you can eventually. Great in spreading the toes. I'm going to take the arms into a cactus position. I'm just going to take the hands forward, height of the shoulders. I'm going to bring them up. I'm going to bring them forward. I'm going to take them back up. Take the hands down, untuck the toes. Just sit back on the feet if you can. So this will rotate the shins in. Try to keep the feet together as best as you can. You could sit in between your feet or sit on the feet. All of these variations are really the same pose, it's just they offer different benefits. So I'm going to come back onto my hands and my knees. I'm going to push through the hands, I'm going to lift through the belly, and I'm going to come back up into a plank pose. So I want my shoulders to support me, and I want just my hands to support me. I'm going to pull back up into a down dog, and in a down dog, I'm pulling way back through the hips. I'm going to swing forward and through into an up dog. So coming forward, elevating the chest, going back into a down dog. If you couldn't back bend, you could just come back into plank, right? Come into plank, keep coming forward into up dog, and then push back into a down dog. Right, now come down onto your knees, and when you come down onto your knees, if you have two blocks, you could use these blocks. I'm going to have them up in an overhead position. So I'm stacking my blocks, and then as I stack my blocks, I'm going to take them, hold of them, but I'm going to pull back to the hips. So my hips are over, and Noah can use that stool over there. I'm using the block to open up the chest and the shoulders. So I'm holding quite tight with the hands on the block, and I'm keeping the ribs in, and it's also good to like kind of let the head go and let the chest go. But initially what I would do is I keep the ribs in so that you're getting more exposure into the back and into the shoulders. Okay. Now when you're coming out of this, walk the knees forward a little bit and then come off the blocks. I'm going to use the blocks for a down dog. I'm going to be on the second level, and then when I'm on the second level, I'm going to lift up and back into a down dog. So it just gives you different leverage. I like squeezing in the blocks. It'll make the hands stronger. Reach down through the heels of the feet, pull the belly and the ribs in, then come forward and come through into an up dog. Extend yourself up. Go back up into a down dog. Come forward, come through into an up dog. And go back up into a down dog. Good. Now come down onto your knees one last time. Sit back on the feet. And when you sit back on the feet, what we're going to do is a little bit of an active mobility. So I'm going to turn to my right, take my right arm back. I'm going to turn to my left, take my left arm back. I'm going to turn to the right, turn to the left, turn to the right, turn to the left, turn to the right, and then turn to the left. Now just take the knees wider than you have them. So the knees are apart. I'm going to sit back on the feet, and when I sit back on the feet, I'm going to move my upper body back. So this is going to be more leverage than, say, a cobra or an up dog, right? It's more leverage of the front of the body. Once you warm up, it's good to, why you'd want to develop your back bend more, it's going to help with your wrists. It'll help with your breathing. So not that you have to get a crazy amount of a back bend, but at first you want to improve your posture. So come back where your hands are underneath you. Lift up into a plank. So step back into a plank. Right, go back up into a down dog. Swing forward and through into an up dog. And exhale, go back up into a down dog. Right, I'm going to walk my feet forward to the middle of my mat. I'm going to walk my hands back to my feet. I'm in a forward fold. I'm going to walk the hands forward to the blocks again, then walk the feet forward so that I'm all the way forward. So, but I'm going to need the mat. So you want to step to the right. You could get your yoga mat too if you want to bring it down.
Yeah.
Go get it. Step the left foot back, and with the left foot back, I'm just on my hands on blocks. So if I'm up on my blocks, it's more extension of the upper body. So chairs could be good, walls could be good. If you need more of an upright position, I'm going to bring my left hand into the block. I'm going to take my right arm up to the ceiling. So twisting. Okay. I'm going to bring my right hand on the inside of the foot and possibly get lower. So I'm going to try to get lower with my elbow, right, to add more leverage into my back. And taking the right arm up to the ceiling. We'll do this one more time. I'm going to bring the right arm down and bring it back up. So the thing with a basic class or foundational class, in my opinion, it's actually more difficult. You're going to have to use more strength than flexibility. The poses aren't really incredibly dynamic in terms of flexibility, so you really have to hold your weight better. So bring your right hand down and move your left foot all the way forward to the top of your mat. Grab onto your elbows, bend your knees, pull your hips back in space, and fold forward into a forward fold. Once you fold forward into a forward bend, step your right foot back into a lunge. So the left foot is forward and the right foot is back. Then take your left arm up to the ceiling. So the left arm is high, the right hand is low. So get broader through the shoulders. Focus on that the scapula is widening. As it widens, you'll open the arms more. So bring the left hand down. Get your elbow to a block or the floor. So I'm on the lowest level of the block. That's a good height. It could be lower than this. Then take the left arm up to the ceiling. Left arm is high, right hand is low. Broad shoulders, broad upper back. Bring the left elbow down one more time. And then take the left arm up. Open up through the chest, the shoulders. And then bring the left hand down. And then step the right foot forward. So both feet are forward. You're in a forward fold. Fold all the way forward into a forward bend. Couldn't forward bend, you could have your elbows on your knees. And you're in a more of a flat back position. So I'm going to bring the hands down. I'm stepping the left foot back for a low lunge. If I need more stability, I'm here. I'm going to take the hands off the floor a little bit. Try to rely on my legs. I'm going to come up into an upright position. If I have back pain, I'm leaning forward a little bit rather than leaning back. So as I'm up in an upright position, I'm opening and closing the hands. Right? So you want to get stronger through the hands, especially if you want to spend more time on the hands. Bring the hands down and step the left foot forward and step the right foot back into a lunge. So the right foot is back. Take the hands a little bit off the floor. Maybe this is a position. Bring yourself up into an upright position. Open and close the hands. Keep the ribs in. Right? So men will overextend because of the tightness of the shoulders. Women will overextend because of the posterior or the anterior tilt in the pelvis. Bring the hands down. Step the right foot forward. With the right foot forward, you're in a forward fold. Okay? Curl yourself up into or roll yourself up into a standing position as you come up. Right, standing. Hook the thumbs behind you and come up on the toes with the heels off the floor. Right? And lower the heels. Inhale, take the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward into a forward bend. As you fold forward into a forward fold, you can bring the hands back or down. You can step back into a plank. Hi, Gloria. So as you step back, you can pull all the way back up into a down dog. You can say hi to her.
Hi.
You can pull the hips back.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to swing forward and through into an up dog.
Oh my God.
So think tailbone down, pubis up. Pull back up into a down dog. Right? And then come forward into plank, just for a couple of breaths. And then come down onto the knees. And then when you come down on the knees, have the hands just underneath the shoulders. This is really key in developing the shoulders to support your weight on your hands. So just let the chest drop down and then push strong through the hands. So if I don't push like this when I'm doing a handstand, I won't balance more than a couple seconds. So you can lower down with the chest and then you can push. When I push really strong, I can hold it for a very long time. You can, not a very long time, but I can hold it long enough. You can lower the chest and you can round. You know, I'm pretty modest. A minute's a good consistent time for me. You could bring your chest down and then you can push. Right, now I'm gonna come up into a plank, and in plank, I could step the right foot forward a little bit, spin the heels to the left, and then take the right arm up to the ceiling. So this is a modified side plank. Not that you have to be in this, but a good base position to help getting you stronger. If you have shoulder injuries, I'd stay away from any bent arm transitions initially. Bring the right hand down, step back into a plank, and then spin the heels to the right. As you spin the heels to the right, take the left arm up to the ceiling. So the left arm is high and the right hand is low. So push strong through the right hand and open up through the shoulders. Right, bring the left hand down, and with the left hand down, I'm going to come forward into a plank but on the elbows. So get down onto the forearms if you can. Push through the forearms. Reach back through the heels. And then lower the hips down, and you're up in a Sphinx pose. So up in Sphinx, pulling myself forward. I'm going to look over my right shoulder. I'm going to look over my left. I'm going to look center and pull myself forward. I'm just kind of moving my weight around to adjust my hips, my abdomen. And then I'm going to come all the way down. And then when I come down, I'm going to take my chest and my feet up off the floor. I'm going to lift up. As I'm lifting myself up off the floor, think I'm pulling back on your feet so that you can get longer through the upper body. And then bring yourself down. Now take your arms into a cactus position. So it's like a W. And with the arms in a W, take the arms off the floor and open up through the shoulders. Right? Turn your thumbs, or just lift your thumbs like thumbs up. And then bring the arms forward, but keep the thumbs pointing up. Right? So you're reaching the arms forward. So keep the arms lifting. Take the arms to a cactus position. Bring them forward. Keep the ribs in. Really bring them in. Last time. W position. And maybe you're down already, right? Take the arms forward. Lift the arms. Pull the ribs in. Bring the hands down underneath the shoulders. And curl up into a low cobra. So just come up into a low cobra. Bring yourself down. Curl up into a low cobra. Maybe something higher. So if I'm coming up, I'm going to try to get my feet together. That's going to add more leverage into my hips. You could, I really like this. Having a block underneath the pelvis, underneath the abdomen. So there's probably going to be a gap between your pelvis or your abdomen to the floor. You fill it with a block, like Noah has it for his rib cage. It's really good. I'm going to look over my right shoulder. I'll look over my left. Okay, I'm going to bring myself forward. I'm going to go over the block with my belly. Now, I like the block. It might be too much for you. It might not be the right place where you have the block. So when you have negative feedback in practice, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just really telling you to do it a little bit differently, It's like kind of telling you to figure things out. So curl up. I'm always available for questions. You could send me videos or photos and I could always help you with your practice. So keep lifting the chin. Keep lifting the head. Right? I'm going to come down. I'm going to use the block to transition. So I'm going to come down. Hands are just, 90-degree angle. So I'm using the block to engage. And then press straight up. And then back up into a down dog. So go back. Good. And then come down on the knees. Take the block forward or 2 blocks forward. Say you only have 1 block. Noah's using my second block, so I'm just going to use my 1 block here. And I'm going to extend through the arms. So my head's off the floor, but it could be down. Keep the ribs in. Really get into the shoulders, your upper back. Right, there's many, many layers. So I feel it just, probably, a couple inches below my shoulder blades is where I really feel the most leverage here. Then come back up onto your hands and go up into a plank again. So lift up, plank again. Pull back up into a down dog. 1 time, swing forward and through into an up dog. And then exhale back up into a down dog. Right, now come forward with your feet. Walk your feet forward. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Roll yourself up to standing. As you roll up, I'm going to take my left leg up off the floor. So I'm lifting it up. Why don't you say bye-bye? I'll see you later. I'll see you later. I'll see you after class. So I'm taking my left leg up. I'm going to pull it up to the left. I'm trying to lift the leg more into the chest, into the shoulder. So I'm working it and getting stronger. You could bring it forward. You can bring it down. Really good maintenance for the hips. Take the right foot up off the floor, lift it up. Of course, use a wall or a chair. I'm going to pull it out to the side. I'm going to try to bring the knee to the shoulder. I'm going to bring it forward. And I'm going to take it down. I'm going to take the left foot into the inside of the right thigh. So lifting it up. As you're squeezing in, you could bring your hands together or not. You could take the arms overhead. So I'm trying to get my arms back in space. I know that's difficult for people. So it could be out in front. And then as it gets easier, then apply some more effort. Some people are taking the arms back, but they're really overextending, right, through the lower back. So you want to be more, when we're on our belly and we're bringing the ribs away from the floor. It's a big reason why I do that so often for people. You can bring the hands down and the knee forward and the foot down, and then take the right foot up. As you take the right foot up, you can push the foot into the inner thigh. You can take the hands up into an overhead position. As you take the arms up, you're rooting through the left heel, you're extending up through the arms. You just think I'm holding your head, really gently, but you're lifting through the crown, extending, and then taking the hands down, bringing the knee forward and bringing the foot down. We'll just do some lateral poses just a little bit, just to counter. Did quite a bit of back bending. It's a good counter for that. So I'm going to take my feet out nice and wide, and with my feet out wide, I'm going to turn my right foot out to the right. I'm going to take the arms out. I'm going to bend my right knee, and I'm lifting my thighs up and out. So as you're in this, try to engage in the feet, get stronger in the legs. Arms could be in a lot of different positions. So I'm grabbing my shoulders. My right arm is underneath my left initially. So this is kind of like when we were twisting, it'll open up the backs of the shoulders. I'm going to take the arms out wide. I'm going to have the right leg straight. I'm going to move the left foot in a bit closer. Then reach out to the right, grab the right shin, the foot, or the block. So, just see what gives you the best feedback for today. So if you don't necessarily know, stick with something for a while, right? And then change it up. So the left arm is coming up. As it comes up, you can bring it forward. You can take it up, turn through the upper body. I'm going to bring it forward, adjusting the hip. I'm going to take it back up, and then bringing myself up. And then you can move your block over to the other side if you're using the block. So when I'm using the block, I'm going to bend the knee, I'll place the block down, and then I'll come into my warrior two. So push the thighs apart. Block on the inside of the leg is just a really good way to keep the knee from falling in. So I'm pushing the feet into the floor. I'm lifting the thighs up and out. And then I'm going to take my left arm underneath my right arm. So if you're a right-handed person, this is the side that you want to pick up. Think the tailbone's moving down. Move the thighs apart. As you move them apart, you get more and more space through the hips, through the upper body. Take the arms out wide again. Have the left leg straight. Reach out to the left. You can bring the left hand into the block or the shin. And then as you're turning your upper body to the right, use more effort if you need it. You want to make it easy initially. That's a great way. I highly recommend that. I'm going to take the arm forward overhead, looking to the hand. I can keep it here. I'm going to bring the arm up and bring it forward. So if you have tight shoulders, it's probably a combination of lack of flexibility and strength. You can take it out. So an active, passive stretch like this is good, but moving it as well is probably needed. So you're turning your upper body towards your right hand, and then inhale, you can bring yourself back up. When you come up, turn the left foot in and bring the feet in just a little bit closer. Turn the feet out and bend the knees, and you're in a horse stance. So a horse stance, I'm trying to keep my body upright. Very good way of developing the legs. So let's say you have problematic knees, you don't have to sit as low as I am, just gradually sit, again, a 90-degree angle isn't necessarily better. It's just, what's better is really the line that you need the most. That's the best line. You can push the thighs apart, get nice and tall and upright. Move it around if you need to. Bring yourself back up. When you come back up, toe heel the feet in a little bit closer, and then bringing yourself back up to standing. So I'm going to shift the weight into the left foot. I'm going to grab the right ankle with the right hand if I could. Just a passive stretch. Open up the front of the thigh. Get nice and tall and upright. It's the base of Natrajasana, your dancer's pose. So I'm pushing strong through my left foot. I don't have to be holding on with both hands. I could actually have my foot on a chair, right foot. Bring the right foot down and then take the left foot up off the floor. You can hold the foot or the shin. You can pull it into you. You can actively push the foot into the hands. That'll manipulate the front of the foot more, the ankle. So nice and tall, nice and upright. And I don't want to be swaying, right? I don't want to be in my lower back. I want to be more neutral. And then bringing the left foot down. I'm going to come to the top of the mat. Take the arms, or once you walk forward, take the arms up overhead. Lift up. Fold forward into a forward fold. As you fold forward, step the left foot back into a lunge. And with the left foot back, you can kind of move the weight around. Below Jillian. And then as I'm moving the weight around, I'm trying to manipulate either my right side or my left. Like we did earlier, I'm going to bring my right elbow to the floor or a block. So I'm going to get my elbow down. I'm going to take my right arm up. We'll bring the right arm down, elbow down. I'll push through the feet. I'm going to take the right arm up to the ceiling. I'll take the arm forward overhead. Take a couple deep breaths here. I like looking up into the top arm or looking to the hand. Bring the right hand down and bring the back knee down on the floor. And with the back knee coming down, just going to take the hands over to the left side a little bit and look over the left shoulder. So mobilizing the neck, I think, is very important unless you're already doing too much of it. So getting the head to move will definitely help in moving the neck and the thoracic. So take the hands to the inside and just move the weight around, see if you can get a little lower. And not that lower is better, but it could be eventually a very good thing for you to do. So you gotta kind of play around with that. You could come down for a moment and then come up. You don't have to just stay fixed and down. If you don't have a lot of discipline, I think meditation is a better thing to discipline yourself rather than asana. Form a breath practice or a meditation practice rather than, because you could really hurt yourself with asana if you hold something too long. So come up, and when you come up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my back foot up off the floor. So I'm going to pull it up and in, and I'm going to bring it down. So if you have tight hamstrings, it can be a reflection that they're weak. So I'm bringing the leg down, I'm lifting it up. You have a hamstring injury, these are very good for that. You just have to do a really high rep, talking like 10 to 20, something like that. You could reach back, grab the foot, you could pull the foot to you, you could kick it away. All right, a couple deep breaths here. Try to turn the upper body towards the right foot, or the left, I should say. Release the foot and then see if you can take the back knee up off the floor and bring it down. So let's say you just can't do that. It's obviously not flexibility. It's your legs are weak. You get your legs to be stronger, you'll be able to move more freely. Just doing that as an example, right? Take the back knee up off the floor, move the left foot in a bit closer, and then straighten through the right leg. And then I'm gonna go up on the blocks again. I'm gonna slide the blocks forward. I'm gonna pull the right hip back. This is becoming more and more of a popular gesture with the foot. It comes from martial arts. It's very good for the back of the leg. So you can push down through the right heel. Back of the leg is getting more and more straight. Bend the right knee and then step the left foot forward. You got heavy blocks, hold on to them if you need to, and squat down. So as you squat right in a low position, when you have the energy, sit actively, and then when you don't have the energy, sit low, right? You could be on the inside of the legs, you could be upright, right? Fold forward into a forward fold. As you fold forward into a forward bend, step the right foot back into a lunge, have the hands down. I'm gonna bring my right elbow down into the floor, or actually my left elbow. So my left elbow's coming down. I'm gonna take my left arm up to the ceiling. I'm gonna bring the elbow down again. I'm gonna take it up. Right, I'm gonna bring it forward overhead. So getting closer to the leg has its benefits. Moving away from the leg has its benefits. I would use both. Bring the left hand down, bring the back knee down the floor. Walk the hands over to the right hip and look high over the right shoulder. So lift the head, lift the chest, move the weight around. A couple deep breaths here. And then walk the hands to the inside of the foot. And I'm gonna get lower if I can with my elbows. So getting down, moving the weight around. Eventually the left foot can be in a higher plane, and that'll be more leverage for the lower body and the upper body. And then come up onto the hands. When you come up onto the hands, take the back foot up off the floor. So I'm gonna lift my back foot up off the floor, I'm gonna pull it in, and then I'm gonna bring it down. So taking it up, and bringing it down, bringing it up and in, hold at the top, bring it down, and then take it up. So the reason it doesn't hurt my knee at all is I'm on the upper half of my patella. If I'm on the lower half or on the tibia, it really hurts. If you're on the patella tendon, it really hurts. So you want to be off of that. You could turn the upper body towards the left leg. You could pull it in. You could push it apart. You know, this is, again, a basic position, but it's a lot of different poses, and that's why I use it so often. So release the foot. Take the back knee off the floor if you can, with or without your hands. Bring it up. Again, if you can, it's all right, but you'd want to get your legs to be stronger so that you can transition more freely. Move the right foot in a little bit closer, then have the left leg straight. Be up on the blocks if you like the blocks. Lift the front of your left foot up off the floor so you're in the heel of the foot. You want to push the weight back if you want to expose the leg more. You want to expose more of the upper body. The arms are stretching more forward, so you might lose a little bit of the weight in the bottom half or the right leg. Go back to having the foot flat, bend the left knee, and then step the right foot forward. So you're in a forward fold. Hang forward in a forward bend. Bring the feet together, and with the feet together, step the left foot over the right foot. Cross the ankles, cross the shins. Right. Bring the weight into the hands, bring the left foot next to the right, step the right foot behind the left foot. Forward fold. So getting to the back of the leg, into the hip. Ardha Matsyendrasana, cow face, classic positions, Jana Shirshasana. This will help with that. Bring the weight into the hands, bring the right foot next to the left, and then have the feet again about the width of the shoulders and come down into a squat. Now if you can't squat as I am, squat on a block. So you could squat down here. I'm gonna just push the hands or the elbows on the inside of the leg and then squeeze the legs in. And then you can push the legs apart. So if I'm freestanding squatting, same thing. I'm just pushing the legs in, and then I'm going to push the legs out. So I'm squeezing in for a moment, right? Really squeezing in, and then I'm going to push the legs apart. You want more width between the legs. A fist gesture is better for that. So take a couple deep breaths here. I'm going to bring the right hand out to the right. I'm going to turn. So just the initial motion can be really a good place to start. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left hand behind my head and lean back with the head. So a motion could be used like a static position as well. That's why I'm staying static. You can bring the left arm down, take the left arm out to the left, have the right hand behind the head. So hopefully you can see that my left shoulder and my knee are together. You don't want to be on the elbow, especially when you're binding. You know, if you really like binds, I don't necessarily, not that I don't like binds, I really do like them, but it can be really hard on the elbows. It can be really, I've heard of some really gnarly injuries about hamstrings. So not that I don't do it, it's just I don't really do it that often. You can bring the right arm down. Like, good to do, but some things I wouldn't necessarily do every day. You can step back into a plank. Once you go back into a plank, push through the hands, round through the shoulders. Right, come back down onto the elbows. As you come back down on the elbows, pull the belly, pull the ribs in. And then come back down with the knees. Come back down with the hips. Pull yourself forward. As you pull yourself forward, just try to see the weight in your hips. If you're looking at a mirror or looking at your camera or your phone, right, see how you line up, and maybe you can line yourself up a little bit better. So I'm going to do some things for your shoulders that I really like. It's very difficult to do on the floor, but well worth it. So you'll need just one block. Hello. Thanks for joining. So I'm going to take my right arm forward. My block could be on the lowest level or the second level. I'm going to be up on the second level. If you have tighter shoulders, weaker shoulders, be on the lower level. So I'm going to take my right arm forward like we're shaking hands. I'll lift my arm up off the floor. As I take the arm up, I'm going to try to keep my ribs in. As I keep my ribs in, I'm going to take the arm out to the side. I'm going to turn the thumb down. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to bring it forward. As I'm bringing it forward, I'm really trying to create more space in the front of the shoulder and my chest. And then as I turn my thumb up, it's rotating the shoulder out. And then you could bring it down. Say one was like, whoa, that was exhausting. Just rest. You could take the arm up. I'm doing these kind of slow. I'm going to pick up the speed a little bit just to get a couple more reps in. Not that faster is better, but it's good to have, in my opinion, a couple different speeds to use. So it's just a little bit faster. I'm taking the right arm up. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to take it up. So really lift the arm away from the floor. Very good for handstands. Take it out to the side. Turn the thumb down as you take it back. Internal rotation, take the arm on your back or behind your shoulders. Lift the arm up again. Take it out to the side. Try not to compensate too much unless you're having pain in the shoulder. And then bring the arm down. Now I'm going to take the left arm forward. As I take the left arm forward, I'm going to lift the arm up off the floor. So opening up through rotation in the shoulder. I'm going to take it out to the side.
And as I take it out to the side, I may, want to hold a specific angle that I'm weak in. So whatever angle that is for you, you can kind of hold it, right? So the arm is now behind the back. I'm going to take it forward and turn the thumb up. As you take it in, try to keep the ribs in. As you keep the ribs in, it'll be more for the shoulder. So bring it down for a moment. What you can do is speed it up just a little bit. Lift the arm up away from the floor. Turning the thumb up. Again, at some point, you'll turn the thumb down. You'll take it back behind you, just running out of space. So I'm going to take it forward. Lifting, 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 lifting. Really, really great for the shoulders. Bring it down if you need it. Take it out last time, to the left. All the way out, back behind you. Bring it out to the side. Right, bring it forward. Again, try to hold the angles that you're weak and inflexible in, and then bring it down. Have the hands underneath the shoulders. As you lift up off the floor, squeeze the feet together. As you squeeze the feet together, you can broaden the chest, you can broaden your back. I'm going to bring myself forward and down. I'm going to bring myself up. Right? And then, like I said about the block, say you need some leverage for your lower back. Have the block in your pelvis or your abdomen. You never see this with an ad, but you may actually really need it. I say this often, the majority of the spine is really meant to rotate. So with the thoracic being, most mobile in rotation, it leaves for a lot of pressure in the lower back. Bring yourself down over the block for a moment and lift yourself up. As you're moving up in space, see what's the best angle in terms of leverage for today. And the good thing is if you're not going as far as you're going, you could practice all day long. You could practice tonight, you could practice tomorrow. But if you bite off more than you're actually really capable of, then you can't practice later, you can't practice tomorrow. So bring yourself down. Use the block as a reference. Tuck the toes, lift straight up into plank, and go back up into a down dog. Go all the way back up into a down dog. Now, walk your feet in a little bit closer. So with your feet in a little bit closer, I'm going to reach my left hand for my right thigh. And then I'm going to bring the hand down. Bend the knees if you need to. Reach the hand for the calf muscle or the foot. And then bring it back. Bend the knees all the way so you sit back. If you can, reach for the heel of the foot and then lift the hips. Turn the heels out. Get more and more weight in the front of your right hand. Turn the upper body to the right. Take one more breath here. Have more weight in your left foot and you won't feel like you're going to fall over. Bring the left hand down, bend the knees. Reach back with the right hand for the heel of the foot if you could. And then lift the hips. Not incredibly important to get the legs all the way straight. All the way straight is good, right? Of course, if you can get that. But try to get the right amount of leverage so that you can breathe properly. Push through the hand, opening through the left shoulder. And then bring the right hand down and then come down onto your knees. And we're going to do another twist and then we'll do some stuff on your back to relax. So I'm going to sit just in a natural or just kind of a crouch position. I'm going to take my left foot outside my right hip. I'm going to step my right foot over my left knee. And then I'm going to take my left arm across. Now the classic way is around the knee, up high, over. Of course, do that. But I'm going to get lower with my left shoulder. So what's really popular, and it's very good to do, is have the foot in the crease of the left elbow in a seated position. That's a very good thing to do. But this is kind of in between of that. It's not as deep. But I like it because it's really a great way to manipulate the outside of the hip. So if you struggle sitting on the floor, you cycle, or you still run, which are great things to do, you might have a lot of tightness here. Do martial arts, you dance. These are strong muscles that get really, really tight. So stay here if you're really benefiting from this position, or lift yourself up. And when you lift yourself up, I'm going to use this block behind me to get more upright, or I'm going to use the block to make a wider, to create more width. So if I take the hand back further, I'm going to create more space between the shoulders. So this is, pretty tight area for most people, and that's why I love the block like this. So take a couple deep breaths and lift yourself up. And you could stay longer, right? You could turn forward. I'm going to release the legs. I'm going to bring the right foot underneath the left leg and the left foot over top. The left foot could be on the inside as well. And then I'm going to take my right arm around, and then, you could get creative with supporting your head on your knee. You could use your blocks to support your head. I don't mind my head hanging here. I'm not really hanging out that long, but some people might need support for the head. So it's just a real obvious exposure into the hip. If you have really flexible hips, obviously this isn't something that you really need. But if you struggle in the glutes, the piriformis, this is really great to isolate this area. So take a couple deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Say you don't feel much. Again, you probably have very good flexibility, passive flexibility, but it's good maintenance as well. I'm going to take my upper body up, and then as I come up, I'm going to take the block behind me. I like armpit and knee together, but you could hook the elbow over top. I'm going to use my block to sit upright. I'm going to get my left hip down. I'm going to take my block out wider if I need it. And it's all a matter of opinion when you're practicing as far as what techniques you should use. That's why I like giving people the freedom to make choices, because I could be wrong. I could say, hey, you have to do this. And there's actually other options that could be really good for yourself. So try to lift up, rinse your back out, twist to the left. You could turn forward. You could release the arm and the leg. And we'll lie back. We'll do a little bit of bridge, and then I'll give you some relaxation. So have your block with you. As you go back, lie back. Have your hands over your elbows. Lift your hips up off the floor. Generate a good lift. Get a good weight in the shoulders. And like anything, I'm never going as far as I can go when I'm transitioning from one pose to the next. It's not like a big yoga demonstration. I'm gradually going into something more if I need it. I'm just using the bridge work, as a counter for the twist that we just did. You can get the shoulders to be heavy. I'm happy if you bring the block underneath you for a supported bridge. It could be any level. Like a low level is viewed as not very much leverage, but I think it's enough leverage to relax in, and that's why I'm using it today like that. But you could be up high. You could have two blocks underneath you. I have my left leg forward because I personally need more space on my left side, the frontal plane. I'll keep it here for a little bit of time. I'll bring more weight into my left side, and then over time, I'll if I need it, I'll bring both of my legs forward. Even here, you could be a little active, and that can support the position rather than just being completely relaxed. So just think of having more weight in the lower body. And by having more weight in the lower body, you'll get more and more exposure into the upper half, the abdomen, the rib cage, the shoulders. And just getting some weight into the torso will kind of give you more of an articulation throughout. It's predominantly the lower back, right? It's not really much of an extension in the thoracic, but it is some. And let's say you need to come out. You bring the feet underneath the knees, you lift the hips, you bring the hips down, right? And like anytime you're practicing, you got to think of what's the intent, and that should kind of, it should line up with what you're doing. So if you really, that's what I love about yoga, is that it's so restorative, and then it supports many different aspects in having a better life. So you could stay here. You could also bring awareness back into the hands. You could roll to your left or your right side, and then you could sit up. And then when you sit up, you may want to sit on a higher surface, just so that you have better posture. It's good to sit on the floor. You can have the palms face up. So I hope you had a great practice. This platform is, I want to offer yoga to as many people as I can. So if you like the class, please share the experience with your friends, your family. I'd love to help them more during this time. All the classes are donational based. My Venmo is Jon Witt Yoga. My PayPal is Jon Witt Yoga. So hopefully, again, the class is helping you, benefiting you. Reach out to me anytime you have any questions, or you just want to chat about something. I'd love to support you more. So have a beautiful weekend. If I don't see you tomorrow on Zoom, that's at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Have a fabulous weekend. Namaste.